In this video, I finally get to take the green monster, this race cart, up for a rip. It's so fast. So yeah, today's video is, there was a lot of boring work, more or less, like putting the sprocket back on, bolting the seat down. A lot of it was just mundane work, so I just didn't bother to film it. Of course, obviously it's just me. I don't have a cameraman to help film me doing that stuff anyways, so I opted not to film that, but I recorded the stuff that matters most, which is the first start and the first ride. In addition, I also went to Go Powersports just recently to pick up some parts for this thing. I got a side cover gasket for this thing and a throttle cable. I ended up not using the throttle cable. I found out this throttle cable setup is just fine. I just had to reassemble it. But I'll edit in some footage here from Go Powersports. But it's a very cool place to poke around. I spotted up on the top shelf. I spotted a 60s McCulloch twin engine race cart. Very rare. It looked like a Survivor. It looked very original with both twin engines on it. And it was amazing because those things are worth literally thousands of dollars. But yeah, Go Powersports is really cool. They were really friendly there. I got my parts and I came home and I found out I only needed one of them. I did find out that this engine is the annoying EPA CARB certified California version, which is not good. These engines, the California ones, they come with non-adjustable carburetors that are designed to run lean for less emissions, and it just means they perform horribly. And in this case, it doesn't even want to idle without choke. And so what I do is I have to keep it on choke at low speeds and idle. Then I go at low speeds, and then when I want to floor it, then I have to flip the choke off, and then vice versa. So I have to have choke on low speeds and no choke at high speeds, and it's really obnoxious to keep it running like that. So in the ride footage, if you see me reaching over like this and whatnot and only seeing one hand on the wheel, that's why. I'm gonna get a new carburetor, probably also from Go Powersports, to put on here, the standard adjustable kind. But until then, it's still fast as is. It just doesn't run very well. I also cut off the header, or not the header. I left the header on, but I cut the muffler off the header. There's an old Breeze muffler on there. It was pretty restrictive, so I cut that off, and it sounds really meaty now. Like, it sounds so good. The seat's mounted down, and I noticed this. Look what that says. I mean, this part's been ground off or something, but it's missing. But EMMI. I remember before I saw the seat before it was painted silver, and before this happened, whatever this was, it said Emmick right down the middle. So, assuming this is the original seat, assuming this isn't like a seat off another cart, I think this is an Emmick sprint cart. I haven't found any numbers or anything to identify it. These race cars are usually kind of weird about their numbers. They usually actually have them on the spindle mount area, but even then they're hard to find usually even then. So I'm gonna probably send some pictures of this thing to Emmick themselves and see if they can tell me what it is. But that could be a very interesting clue right there that says Emmick right on the seat. Before you harp on me about the zip ties, the only reason I did this is because these seat struts, they're supposed to have a clamp piece that goes underneath here, but it's not there. I never got any clamp pieces for it. So zip ties is the best way I could think of making it work. So zip ties, and there's also one back here. So this seat is pretty solid right now. I mean, it'll flex a little bit, but it's pretty solid. Alright, it's time to try and start this thing. I finally got it all put back together.
Try raising the idle a little bit. Sounds like there's something in the blower housing. So here's a rundown of what I did. I put the clutch and the clutch guard on. I put the chain on. I put on the 60-tooth split sprocket. I actually put it on the wrong way around before, and then I had to change it over. So I flipped it around after cleaning up the sprocket itself. And now that's all mounted. The chain's aligned. Brakes, they've been working the entire time I've had it, so I'm not even touching those because they're hydraulic. And last thing I want to do right now is actually adjusting hydraulic brakes. Tires, they all hold air. All 4 of them. It's awesome. I mounted the seat. This seat has been kind of boogered up over the years. It's got a bunch of holes drilled in it. I'm not sure exactly how it was mounted originally, but these are the holes that I found worked best. So I mounted it with the seat hardware. This throttle assembly in here, I had to figure it out all on my own. It looks simpler from this angle than it really is. It's actually a pretty complicated assembly. But I had to figure it out with no instructions. And so I'm patting myself on the back for that. That was tricky. First start, there was a clattering sound in the blower housing here. It sounded like some metal was clattering around in there, and I was really worried. I opened it up. It was a stray hose clamp, the one that I was missing. So it got chewed up, but oh well. But so yeah, the engine runs. It is incredible.
Choke on. Thanks. First drive, actually. Yep, this is a race kart, actually. This is my second go-kart. I've got another one at home. See you later.
yeah, this thing, it drives. It actually drives. The brakes work amazingly. The handling is a little wacky. I'm, of course, partially it's because I'm not quite used to it, and also I have to do this while I'm driving. But it wants to turn left more than it does right. I noticed that one of these spindles has more caster than the other, it looks like. The geometry is not quite symmetrical up here, so it's easier turning left, and there's more weight transfer going right. I can actually watch the frame flex as I turn the wheel right, and it naturally wants to go left. So, interesting there. I'm not sure why that is. It may have been optimized for a certain track back in the day. I may have to correct it eventually. I'm not sure, but for now, it drives. It understeers badly when going left. I have to be careful not to gun it too hard, otherwise it'll just slide. Otherwise, though, the power comes on really fast and really hard once I flip the choke off. Like I floor it and it just pins me to the back of the seat. It's fast. I checked the gearing. It's a 62 sprocket, 12-tooth clutch on 11-inch tires, I believe. Yeah, 11-inch tires. And so that and putting through the DIY go-kart speed calculator, that puts it at about 35 miles an hour, assuming this thing is turning 5,200 RPM, which is about average for these ungoverned predators. So about 35 miles an hour is the estimate. I still need to actually record it with a GPS. But so basically, this thing accelerates faster than the hothead, I believe. It feels like it. But it'll have a slightly lower top speed, which I'm actually good with for now. Although, if I want to take it on track, I'm going to gear it a little higher just so I can hit it on the straights more, because race cars don't really stop. Yeah, other than that, the seat makes a little bit of noise. The mounting system is not ideal, as I covered. It's zip-tied because I'm missing the clamps. And otherwise, this thing is amazing. It feels so much more composed than the hothead in most cases. It tracks dead straight because it's a nice heim joint steering system. It's a different animal from the hothead in general. But I am very impressed with the power output of this engine when it runs right. So it's definitely got a lot of potential. This has been a really fun revival. Sorry I couldn't film a whole lot. There just wasn't that much to film. But yeah, over time I'm going to be fixing this thing up even more. There's some extra pieces welded onto the frame here that I'm probably going to cut off, de-jankify some other stuff, clean it up in general, probably throw some new tires on it eventually. And like I said, eventually I want to take this thing to the track, and that would be a blast because this thing has a lot of potential. And there's actually someone in my neighborhood that goes to the local track too. I've seen their kart racing trailer, so that sounds like fun. But yeah, enough of my rambling. Thanks for watching the video. Give a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one.